The air is cooler and the garden's quieter. Today, I'm mustering what remains of summer, from miniature bouquets to unexpected accidents. Come along as I welcome autumn into the garden. Summer departed as quickly as it arrived. September is here, and I can hear nature yawning. The roses, however, are still going. Let's deadhead the 100th bloom and enjoy the rest that remain. Despite the drop in temperature, quite a few cucumbers and tomatoes have somehow made it through, albeit some tiny. It's best to pick those that are ready to be eaten before it's too late. Like the surrounding nature, the kitchen garden too is getting sleepy. The oregano has overbloomed, and I like to cut it back to prevent it from becoming woody next year. Instead of disposing of it, I will chop it up and drop it back into the same bed. Some free mulch that hopefully will decompose over winter. One of the beneficial properties of oregano is that it deters pests. It's also proven to be very hardy, surviving minus 30-degree temperatures we get here in winter. The new dawn just keeps on giving and giving. I continue to deadhead to make sure the buds keep blooming. Chard is one of the veggies that still grows in dropping temperatures. It's also a favorite of mine, great in stir fries and stews. Sometimes nature still manages to surprise me. Ripe strawberries this time of year? Best to collect what we can and pop them in the kitchen. There's one spot that still believes it's summer. Let's head over to the cut flower patch to see how things are getting on there. Blooms are still coming. Finally, some peony poppies. And if you remember this strange plant from the last episode, this is it now. I believe it's an evening primrose, but I'm not entirely certain. If you know what it is, please share your knowledge. There's always a little bit of de-weeding to do here. The birds sit atop the neighboring mountain ash and use the flower bed as a public loo, so lots of random plants, therefore, tend to pop up here. I have to say, cornflower has been one of my favorites this year. I've seen they come in loads of different colors and will definitely get some of them for next year. Seems like Chris has something to say. While I've been gardening, he's had to deal with this. Foffe's suicidal attempt. How he's managed to end up here upside down is a mystery. Rain has fried the battery, but there's nothing Chris can't fix. Just gotta feed the curious cows before he gets on with it. In the meantime, I'll pick some flowers because we need at least one bouquet before the blooms die back. Because it's such a tiny bouquet, I'm going to use some leftover chicken wire in this jug to help prop up the flowers a little bit. This is a helpful trick when you have a vase that is too large for the amount of flowers you have. Adjust the size of wire to fit your vase and pop it in so it's just below the brim. Then all you need to do is arrange your blooms. September is not September without some apple picking. Let's head outside and gather a basketful. This apple tree has stood here for at least 70 years. It's amazing it still gives such an abundant and beautiful harvest after all this time. Someone here is better at snacking on the damson plums than picking fruit for later. Like the apple tree, this old plum tree is also begging to be picked. It's provided lots of fruit this year, perfect in a jam or as a treat. And there you have it. Summer has ended and a new season has begun. As the cold settles in, more will need to be done in the garden to prepare for winter. Until then, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.